Affirmative prayer is a spiritual practice built upon one foundational idea: the oneness of all life with the divine spirit. Rather than asking a distant power to intervene, affirmative prayer begins with the understanding that the creative intelligence of the universe already lives within us. Because spirit is present everywhere, it is also present within our own consciousness. When we pray affirmatively, we are not trying to persuade something outside ourselves. Instead, we are awakening our awareness of the divine presence that is already active in our lives. This awareness transforms our thinking. As our thinking changes, our experiences begin to reflect that new understanding. Affirmative prayer can be described as metamorphic mind action. It is a process that transforms our consciousness by focusing on spiritual truth. Instead of speaking in hopeful language such as, "I hope," or "please grant," affirmative prayer is spoken in the first person and in the present tense. This language reflects certainty rather than request. It affirms that divine qualities such as wisdom, harmony, health, and abundance are already active in our lives. By speaking these truths consciously, we shift our mental patterns and align our thinking with spiritual reality. The first step in practicing affirmative prayer is application, which begins with entering the present moment. Affirmative prayer works best when we quiet our mental noise and become still within ourselves. This is not about emptying the mind completely, but about becoming centered and receptive. As we settle into this calm awareness, we begin to sense the presence of spirit within us. This inner stillness allows us to move beyond distraction and into spiritual clarity. From this centered place, prayer becomes less about words and more about conscious connection. The next step is acknowledgement. Here we recognize the existence of one universal mind, the creative intelligence behind all life. This universal mind is present everywhere. It exists in nature, in humanity, and within our own consciousness. By acknowledging this truth, we affirm that the same intelligence guiding the stars and sustaining life is also guiding us. This recognition establishes the spiritual foundation for the prayer that follows. After acknowledgement comes alignment. In this step, we recognize that we are not separate from the universal mind. Instead, we are expressions of it. Alignment means consciously identifying with the spiritual nature within us. We move away from the idea that we are isolated individuals struggling alone. Instead, we understand that the wisdom, creativity, and power of spirit are already present within our consciousness. The next stage is acquisition. Here we state what we have realized through prayer as though it has already happened. This is an important distinction. Instead of asking for something to occur, we affirm that spiritual truth is already active in our lives. For example, we might affirm clarity, peace, healing, or success as present realities. This reinforces the understanding that spiritual law responds to our conscious awareness. Sometimes we pray because we are facing a challenge or negative condition. In the step of affirmation, we acknowledge the appearance of that condition. We do not deny it exists, but we do not give it ultimate authority. Instead, we affirm that spiritual truth is greater than the condition. By doing this, we shift our focus from the problem to the spiritual reality that resolves it. The next step is appreciation, which is the expression of gratitude. Gratitude acknowledges that spiritual action is already unfolding. When we give thanks, we reinforce the realization that our prayer has been received within the universal order of life. This feeling of appreciation strengthens faith and deepens our awareness of divine presence. The final step of affirmative prayer is announcement, sometimes called release. Here we mentally release the prayer into spiritual law. Rather than trying to control the outcome, we trust that the universal intelligence guiding life will bring about the appropriate result. This step represents confidence in the creative process of spirit. Let's practice a short example of affirmative prayer by following the steps we just discussed. First, I enter the present moment and become still. I allow my thoughts to settle, and I center my awareness in the presence of spirit. I acknowledge that there is one universal mind expressing itself throughout all life. This divine intelligence is present everywhere, and it is present within me now. I identify that I am one with this universal mind. The wisdom, creativity, and guidance of spirit operate within my consciousness. From this realization, I affirm that clarity and peace are active in my life right now. I know that divine wisdom guides my decisions and supports every step I take. Even if circumstances may appear uncertain, I know that these conditions have no authority over the truth of spirit within me. I affirm harmony, understanding, and positive outcomes in all areas of my life. I feel genuine gratitude for this realization. I appreciate the presence of spirit and the unfolding of divine intelligence in my experience. And with confidence and trust, I release this prayer into spiritual action, knowing that universal law brings it into perfect expression by saying, "And so it is." Affirmative prayer is a powerful spiritual practice that aligns our thinking with the truth of divine presence. By moving through application, acknowledgement, alignment, acquisition, affirmation, appreciation, and announcement, we bring our consciousness into harmony with spiritual law. As our awareness changes, our experiences begin to reflect that deeper understanding. If you found this explanation helpful, consider subscribing to the channel for future discussions on spiritual principles and personal transformation. And connect with me on social media using the links provided in the video description below. I'll see you in the next video.